welcome on stage Sebastian and Christine from Studio C.A.R.E.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to have both.
This one. No, wow. Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. We are super excited to be here. Thanks for inviting us. We've been invited a couple of months ago by Mar, who cannot be here today. But we have during the presentation, there's some Mar pictures, Mar in the video. So she was working with us also 2 years ago. That's why we know her. And we're excited to start. Should we just go for it?
Yes.
Let's just go for it.
Let's see.
Okay, so this is us, apparently, with a bit of hairstyle and new styling.
Yeah, we followed your input and let go.
And this is the title of our presentation. You just stay over there, Basti. Just stay in front of the laptop.
Yeah.
Exactly, so our talk is called Tricked Out of Our Expectations. And we're going to share some work, some stories with you from the last 10 years of our work and 24/7 life on the theme of punk. And actually we
came up with a punk definition, and let's see.
Yeah, we didn't know that Veronica was already doing all the work, asking ChatGPT.
Well, more also because we asked Wikipedia. But can everybody hear me without microphone? Is it more nice without microphone? I don't know, but I'm feeling a bit double blurred.
No, you're not double.
And as Veronica pointed out, punk is a diverse subculture which is basically stuck together from almost every other previous youth culture. But we put that in because we found out that it's very interesting that punk is like a mix of everything that was there. So, and it's not a very homogeneous culture. It was like Go on. It was like, stitched together, and can you go to the next slide? And it is, there are some underlying things, there are some underlying basics, and this is nihilistic, no future attitude. So, and this also was based in a very, very fundamental distrust of authorities, established society,
mainstream
culture, for instance. So, and but on the other hand, it was like due to this self.
And it still is, right?
And it still is. No, yeah, right. And it, but when it came up in the 70s, it was way more new and way more like vivid in this sense, no? And
okay.
Now it's like it has also ecstatic and wild attitudes due to this self-destructive way of living. So punk became anti almost anything, and funny-wise, you're right, because when anti becomes the new normal, then normal becomes the new anti, no? And then so it all switches around a bit, funny. So, but very, I think very important is that it was always anti-selling out. So, and this is one of the things that is very, still very up to date, that as a punk, you never sell punk out or sell yourself out. So, and then all the other antis, okay. And as they pointed out, the punk scene developed a strong DIY ethic. So, because they had to circumvent main culture.
They also wanted to, right? So, to avoid industrialized or prefabricated stuff.
Consumerism, you
exactly.
work whatever is at hand, no?
Yeah.
So, and then we come to this little point that aesthetically, of course, punk really tries to shock, no? And shocking, back in the days, shocking worked best with like challenging the normative beauty. So, no, and being this meant then being ugly and obscene and obscure, and for shake others up to take on a new perspective in society. And yeah, did that work?
We don't know yet.
We don't know. And so as a final conclusion, I would say we can point out that punk has a disrespect for the normative, for everything that is considered in a safe bubble. Punk is dealing with respectlessly, so no rejecting it or challenging or battling it. Yeah. So, and why did we talk about this?
Because we could have just relied on Veronica, but why did we talk about this? We wanted also to, because we are invited here, and we are like, okay, so I have a slight feeling why we are invited here, but also let's look at it. How do we relate to punk with our work? And now the story part comes. So we take you back in 10 years ago, where we started our first project, working together. And at that time, we were living in Eindhoven. I was studying at the Design Academy. You were studying in Hamburg for fine arts. I was doing master in social design in my first year. And we were approached by somebody we knew from Hamburg in Germany, where we used to live before. And this person was a lawyer, or still is, and living in a house. And he was like, I'm super bored. I'm super stuck. I don't know what to do. Basti, please, can you do some crazy art intervention? I need to do something with my life. So this person really approached us for something bold, something different. And we were like, yeah, nice. And it was more like his kind of thing. And then they wanted to do something like a burglary, like a scenery of like, wow, something crazy happened. And then we smash a wall and whoa. And they were asking me like, hey, Christine, you want to take part in this? I was like, I don't know. But let's maybe do something with it. Maybe we can implement that. We build it up again differently afterwards, and there the project actually started. So that was really the begin. And we came up with a kind of manifesto cards later. You will also find it on your coffee table over there. You can take them. But this was basically the condition of this inhabitant at that time. So completely like, what the fuck? So I don't know. You can take my whole house, do whatever with it.
So you tell me, I asked you to
yeah,
that was the way, no? Yeah, that's true. And so there is kind of we talked about this all the punk things, because we of course want to connect to this topic, but we also come up with a little conclusion in the end. But
don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Okay.
So this was how we started. This was how we started in the house, like with a completely different method of, okay, let's, literally with a knife in the wall, let's look at it together with this inhabitant. He was always there, like as a hardworking lawyer, but he was always around in this building site. He did not go on vacation.
It's not a knife, no, it's a super huge chisel.
So we completely celebrated stripping down the whole house together with a bunch of people.
And we celebrated it too.
This is our first daughter, and a pile of dirt in the living room. We discovered lots and lots of layers which we all took out and completely stripped the whole house. But also left traces at some point. And also, I think this picture is really important, even though it looks really crazy. This was his spot where he would sit in the evenings and drink his wine.
Little living room, no?
Yeah. And I think you asked him at that time, like, hey, how do you spend your evenings? And he was talking about his wine ritual every evening. And then we were like, we were also talking about what would you like to do with this room? You would like, I think behind me it would be nice to have an opening. We're like, okay, so let's...
No, that started differently. Yeah, this
okay.
This came later, because I think what is funny, we used kind of an unnormative, like out of the norm method to make him relax, to move.
I wanted to say that. Okay.
Back then it wasn't clear that he wanted to have this breakthrough. It was like that he was having his little evening table here and his little seat, and then he was just like following this instruction to pour a glass of wine against the wall as a first little.
He was so stuck. You were really asking him, like, what can you do? Just pour your wine at the wall. And then in the end, he did that. Like first,
he took white wine in the first place, and he was like with the pipette. Look what I did, guys. He was like showing us in the video.
And we couldn't really see it. Yeah.
Oh, this is cool, but could it be a bit? And then he was like, this was then.
And then he started to drink red wine.
It was all full.
Yeah, you see the blue stains here.
So that was nice.
Yeah, and then we said, okay, you know what? This is the spot where we start to intervene in the house. And then there was the sledgehammer action, and there was an opening later. Yeah.
It was kind of.
Okay, we don't have time for that. A long presentation. Okay, further. So what we also did is like hanging all of his furniture out of the windows, out of the doors. And we already see here like this water installation and like hoses with water running through the house. So we had like a party event moment in the middle of the whole project, which was planned, and we invited like 60, 70 people, all of his friends, and work. And we said like, okay, we stage everything in a way that the house is like open and full of opportunities and full of, you know, possibilities for the future when everyone can debate with us about what is going to happen. So we left it like this, and also for the event, like everything was full of rubble and stones, and there was a, that's too early. There was a bar in the garden that you had to walk through, a pool before you get there, all the old furniture. So it was really, really crazy. And we did that, work with whatever's at hand without looking at the punk attitude first, I must admit. But it was like everything that we found in the house, everything was reused again. So we worked with what he actually threw out, what he didn't have a relation to. We looked at it and then brought it back together again later. This is also one of the pictures of his DVDs and CDs, and he also had a record collection of like 400 records, which was like, okay, yeah, so throw it away. It was like, really? And then we asked like 2 DJs who would play only his music the whole night of this event, which was so beautiful. And he was like, crying, and like, no, I'm keeping them, and they get a super nice place in the new.
He was really crying, yeah, he was.
We built a table for that event, which would lift up at certain moments, and then you had that picture that you would see before with that yellow kind of tray, which would, with a conveyor belt, which would go back to the kitchen, and then the food would be, you know, reused kind of and come back into the kitchen again. So it was all of these weird kind of things happening.
And I mean, we did it a bit like, yeah, as you said, no, I'm spoiling again, sorry.
I think I was taking too much time, but it was really fun because we added like hundreds of kilos of old foam, which we could take for free at some company, and put it in the sleeping rooms, and people were just playing and building stuff all night and really discussing on what is going to happen in that house in the future. These are the feet of the inhabitant, and the next morning he wasn't like particularly happy. That was really his selfie, like stepping out of the shower. But we took it on from there. So
yeah,
that is.
It was a real cringe moment. No?
Yeah,
It was not particularly feeling not so good. It was like a true crisis, or not a true crisis. It was a true
catharsis.
dip. So like it was really cathartic moment in the sense that he was really even doubting the project. So and later on we got that this was a very important moment, and that this kind of really pushing one out of the comfort zone is part of the game. But yeah, this is where it unfolded. This project unfolded because we just had a few little ideas on what we want to do, and we didn't know. We took on the journey quite naively in a positive way, and that later on it turned out to be like developing into a method, or but not there. It was like for everybody it was super cringe, so super.
No, that wasn't so bad, but we didn't know what we were doing at that time, right? So, but like you see already, like the room has changed. So I think we are a year further here. So I thought we thought like it takes maybe 3 weeks or 3 months, but of course it took years. But it was really nice because at this moment, like Jens, the person you see here, he already became so much more, you know, like
self-confident.
Yeah, self-confident, because at the beginning he didn't even know what to keep and what not, where to put a nail or not, or what does it matter. And then he was like at some moment only calling like, hey, you know, do you have a number of an architect? Because I was thinking about the walls in my house. I was like, yeah, okay, here's a number. Next time we visit, all the walls that you could possibly take out of this house are gone. He was like, yeah, I needed more freedom, and you know, I made this and this, and I took out the ceilings as well. We were like, you didn't even ask us. But then that was also an important moment for us, because he also changed some of the sculptural elements that you did in the doorway.
I spent a lot of time on a particular part of the wall.
Yeah, but that was also learning for us that this person is so happy and so self-confident. He became a true minimalist, I have to say. Yeah. Later, like also his records, and then it was all cleaned nice. Here you see there were walls here before, so everything was truly more and more becoming like his world, and he knew how to get there. Okay, and I think this story is kind of rounded up. This is one of the other manifesto cards, control your home according to your needs. This is what he did, basically. And we're still in good contact, and we are still working together, so that is a good story. And it was the first curated catastrophe that we did, and from there on, this method was born.
Yeah, but that was really, that was so fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we are running out of time. So 2015, we both had to graduate within the same year, the same month almost. So this is an installation of the curated catastrophe process in the aula of the University of Fine Arts in Hamburg.
And to be honest, I must admit, as I recall it, Jens was telling us when we were ready with like the first big step with him, he said, now this is worth like developing. I wouldn't have maybe even initially think about that.
I think I brought it also into school and was telling, this is what we did in the summer, this and this and this, but we also did this. Everyone was like, what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what? So maybe really consider to do something with it. So I was also going for this as a thesis, and then you too, we said, okay, we're working on the same project at the same time, but with maybe different outcomes. So for Hamburg, we decided to make a stage in the aula, which was open for guests for like a week long. And this was the opening ceremony, let's say, like let's deconstruct a normal apartment, but we didn't throw away anything besides maybe some plasterboards. But all the furniture was reused in a week-long transformation where people could so this was the whole setup, the stage. This was the totem heap, the pile of furniture. This was our, the reception desk. People could come here and say like, hey, I also want to do something. And then they were working with us, and then they brought in a tree, they made new furniture, they made fire, which we shouldn't show the director of the university maybe, but it was really great moments of where people completely discovered this space and knew and imagined something that no one would ever have imagined when you see this setup before. So only through the process we got there.
Interrupt a bit, your light is red. I'm just seeing.
Which one? This one, but I also have a blue light. Okay.
Good. Thanks for it.
On the Eindhoven side, I developed a briefing kind of game. So it's with playing cards, with like 40 playing cards that are asking all these weird questions around your environment, your home, and asking you to dive really deep into what is your surrounding and how can you change it? What would you possibly need? And we still use this as a briefing. Maybe also just some of the cards, to work with people on a different level, to get to different answers. Oh yeah, we have a video here. Does it work?
Yeah.
So if I click forward now, or let's see. So this is Fast Forward 2023. There was a German TV channel asking us to do this on TV, and it was really not staged. And this is also a part where Ma was working with us. And this is a trailer of a 45 minutes documentary. So you can still see it online if you want to refresh your German. Go for it.
Hallo. Eine Woche lang 2 Künstler in meine Wohnung und wir haben keine Ahnung, was passiert.
Wir sind schon
C.A.R.E.
Wenn man sich zu Hause nicht zu Hause fühlt, ist das eine Krise?
Ich fühle mich echt nicht wohl und das nervt mich auch. Das nervt mich im Alltag.
Krisen können nicht auf nette Weise gelöst werden.
Das fühlt sich gerade frisch an. Ich hätte auch fast geheult.
Er muss jetzt da durch. Das muss sich jetzt einfach doof anfühlen.
Wir machen eine performative, psychotherapeutische Nummer.
Habe ich selber verschraubt hier das Ganze.
Dieses Rausrupfen aus der Routine geht eben nur durch starke Gefühle. Und deswegen überfordern wir uns alle.
Es passieren so schöne Momente, die wirklich nur passieren können, wenn wir zusammen mit Bewohnern etwas umbauen.
Das ist halt schon etwas crazy und seltsam, aber das bin ich sonst auch. Ich bin sehr zufrieden. Ich würde es wieder machen.
Okay. He said he would do it again at the end, and she didn't put the subtitles. Yeah, let's call him. That is that. In between, we were also asked to do this in, chunks of it, in a museum, together with people, in what you call boutique offices, like spaces where people are there for a workshop or work together. So this is real, how do you say that, grass which we cared for a lot. So it's not really, doesn't really look like a catastrophe, but it was crazy because you come into a room and there's real grass and insects and stuff, and people are like, oh my God, this is happening. And it's like Hamburg City, you know, like posh place. And also this we did. So of course we cleaned this all, and this is one part of our team, but like people are like absolutely shocked to
drink out of the
yeah, I mean, you don't have to drink it, no, but we took down the washing basin, like the sink in the bathroom, and you can could you wash your hands in there, or you don't wash your hands. It's not really good quality, but this is punk quality. This is wood chips, also in a kind of seating area where we took down the legs of the chairs, basically, and then people could, also there was a shovel, and you could have your own landscape of like a sofa or something. This is an idea we also took out of the first curated catastrophe, like tables that fold up eventually or in between in a restaurant in Hamburg as well. We call it the infinite dinners, and also we still do them. This is a reiteration of that same bathroom in the boutique office, this time with a tsunami bathroom where everything was like under, I think, 2 tons of clay. Yeah. This is Rotterdam, just before Corona hit, a small speakeasy bar that we did at Almondestraat with a punk concert. That's why I put it in. It was a nice evening.
Yeah, it was really...
Also Almondestraat, C.A.R.E Rotterdam, maybe some of you know it, where it's also a very nice project, but also a lot of people are just surprised, like, how can you do that? You can just make an opening and then you close it again. And it's this playful kind of way of working yourself through a building. Next, Infinite Dinner 2021, also in Rotterdam, which was really fun. And I think the idea of the Infinite Dinner is too long to explain here, but the food gets recycled and brought up anew, and there's these many surprise moments and
the notion of that you are able to shape space
yes.
yourself, that you are encouraged to take action, to go out, to leave your own normative boundaries.
And people are basically invited for dinner and an art exhibition, but there's no art exhibition because it evolves during the dinner and people are part of it. Lots of performative moments in there as well. People had to hack open the floor so the food could actually go down in the basement into the kitchen. And then it's also a very ugly photo, but a very nice moment. Yeah, that's why. So how they would, make a masa and then put it into the blender, and then they would make bitterballen for the next guest. So that they would make bitterballen, then we put them in the freezer, and the next week people could have the bitterballen for one of the courses. Yeah.
That's why
they were nice, actually.
Infinite dinner, because it's like a
exactly. Yeah.
We still have some bitterballen in the deep freeze for the next round. No?
Yeah, 2024, we also did another Infinite Dinner where we also asked people, to explore the space, to find ways through the building. And sometimes it's really like out of your comfort zone, out of the box, or like, what am I doing here? But also having fun at the same time, comforting people, not only with alcohol, but also, creating a nice atmosphere. And I think there we are slowly coming to the point that we always use a kind of method of bringing people into a situation where they have to see, like, what is happening here? What am I doing here? How can I relate to this? But also situations that they know and that they feel comfortable in. For example, they found eventually their way up the stairs, which was hidden, so they had to slash a wall. And then the house was kind of breaking together, like no electricity, things were getting weird. So we had a big, how is this called? A touring van or touring car. Yeah. Which would just, bring us to a next location, which they didn't know before. And people were like, wow. And then this crazy, for like 15 people, like this crazy fat van, with, okay, sorry. And then they would come to a place that they've never been before and had to dig out their food from this earth or like dirt pit yeah. Where we steamed the food for like 4 hours already. And they enjoyed the food very much. They enjoyed the whole evening. And then they were sitting there waiting for their dessert to come and not knowing that it's already in front of them because everything on the table was edible. So this is made completely edible. Also the candles, everything but they had to find the hammer and smash everything so they could share the desert together and finish the evening.
Finish them up.
Oh, that was too fast. I think that's the last picture. And that is bringing us back to tricked out of our expectations. I think that is our method, what we apply a lot. But I have to say, this is actually part of a quote, and the quote goes further, saying, tricked out of our expectations, we fall back on our senses. And that is actually really what we work with. And I stole this quote from Merlin Sheldrake. He wrote a book on mushrooms. Maybe you've read it before. And what we feel, what we see when we work with people that we bring into certain situations, but also comfort them, is that they're so open and so curious and in such a different relation to their environment that we can actually work differently with them, and that they are also open for new approaches. Yeah. And it's something that works within our brains, so that's something that you can also look up. It's basically how our brains work. If you cycle through the street, you don't look at all the signs the whole time. You cannot feel and see and hear to everything all the time, because it would just confront our brains too much. So we expect certain things and then we blend out the rest. Yeah. But if something unexpected happens, you look differently. So you also see things that you've never seen before.
You stay sharp, basically, no?
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah, wake up. We can't do it all the time. But this is where we get back to punk, and this is the other side that we say, like, punk leaves us alone after we got shocked by it. That's our statement.
Yeah, when we go back to what punk is, no? I mean, punk has a lot of negative attributes. It's like the no future attitude. It's like I shit on everything. I just want to get rampage, and but also it was a movement that came out of the necessity to do something against the circumstances, to do something against the system. And I think when we see when we see punk and we see the creative person, there is some overlaps. No, when we as creatives, we have to stay sharp as well. We have to stay vivid. We have to stay awake to see what there is to what there.
Also, maybe on the edges of the normative, no, to explore the new.
And of course, creativity is an everyday thing. Creativity sparks everywhere. We are creative when we are solving problems. When we are creative when we wash dishes in a different way, no. But for certain other things, or for a certain creativity implemented into social change or into creating something new, inventing something new, we have to go out of the normative. We have to operate on the rims of society, on the normativity, in order to find something there that we can get back into our gang, into the society. And that were in my personal feeling, because I was a punk when I was a teenager. No, I was really having this mohawk thing, and I was even then back as a teenager. I was having difficulties to fully connect to that scene because it was a bit too ugly. It was a bit too pointless with all the ecstatic punk concerts smashing each other's faces, and then of course being super shaken up, being super adrenaline infused, but with no point and purpose in that sense. Just being anti, with no further. And that's what is so funny about that. What I wanted to tell in the beginning, that when we met first, and Jens asked me to do this thing, this burglary thing, I didn't think about putting it together afterwards. I was just like, okay, let's waste your flat, let's make it art, and let's make everything, break everything. Cool. So this typical punky attitude. I was 20 something then, or what? No, and I was taking my chance on a bourgeois flat that I could flatten out. And then Tini came and said, no, wait. Yes, okay, let's do it, but let's put it together afterwards. I was like, so, and that one, when I thought, oh, punk leaves us alone with that being shaken up, and now you might.
Oh, this is the pathetic ending of our presentation, that we hope to turn it into something that we can connect with, something beautiful even.
And in that sense, punk is a powerful tool, but it is not. It is a tool.
For us, it's not an answer, yeah.
And not the goal in this sense, not the answer. So, as well as a hammer is never the answer, but a tool.
That's it. Thank you. Q&A moment.
So please, Luis.
I am amazed.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Sharing your journey, your work. I love this concept that you coined of the curated catastrophe. And what you said about how this process requires people, you as artists, but also the people who you're working with, to handle strong emotions. So my question is, how do you regulate those strong emotions? How do you regulate yourself when you're dealing with all of that uncertainty? Well, especially in the process of dealing with this uncertainty, whether it's curated or it's outside of your hands.
No, do you want?
Okay. I think it's a good question because it's also pointing to something that could possibly go wrong. So I think in the...
And it went wrong in the very, when I
Did
said
it?
it was a cringe moment with the first guy, this kind of, I mean, it didn't went wrong, it was necessary, but it felt like that it went wrong in
Because
that
it was the
moment.
first time and it was like
It was very strong because it was not contained. It was really, because we went on it very naively, we had the full package of controllessness. So, and yeah.
Yeah, but at the moment, like we have a plan sort of. We have a methodology, and then also it's about talks in the beginning. You just don't go there, and like people are prepared, and we have safe havens. So there's like always a room in the house that is untouched, or you can also have a curated catastrophe only in a one tiny environment. So it's up to you. It's really up to if you ask for that, you also want that it happens.
And we briefed throughout the game, or through the game, or through conversations. We map out the situation a bit, and then for ourselves, we create boundaries, or we create like thresholds that we don't want to step over. But on the other hand, we try also to map the situation in a way that there is some out of the box moment. So
yeah,
that
I think
it's the difficult thing, and maybe.
But I think it's really also the moment of like chaos. You know that if you're moving and everything is out of place, or you're in your own building site, and you think like, how the hell is this possibly coming together again into a nice warm home that I like to come back after work or something. But I think we emphasize on this moment, and then people are really like also open for what is happening, and we never trash something or break something that people don't want. It's always It always happens. Yeah, but not if people don't want it.
Think about this sculpture of Paddy that we just destroyed.
You destroyed it. It fell down. But we fixed it. We have it with us.
It is, of course, it is. It might, and this is still a big like thin. Or it's a thin line in this project, because if it's getting too contained, then it loses its power. If it's getting too uncontained, then it's getting too out of control and like aims besides its goal. So you're right in asking this question as being the pivot point of keeping it under.
But also one part of the game is also like what is really important to you. So if you have any jewelry, any like things that you want to keep for your whole lifetime or that are really not to be touched, you put them somewhere else. If everything else could maybe get a bit scratched or not. So
Thank you.
So is that like a disclaimer for insurance?
if you want to, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an insurance as a studio, so if we break something and there's problems, there's an insurance. Yeah.
But we never got that far to
No,
put up a contractual framework, because then this feels also very like in a shoebox.
It's not really true. For the last project there was a contract because of the TV thing. They made a contract.
True. It got beside me.
And I think it's a good idea to do it anyway.
No.
Yeah. But we never went into anything with the insurance yet. Yeah.
Yet.
So you said you have more than one child. That's already very punk. I can imagine. How do you keep the chaos in your own home, or how do you embrace the chaos in your own home?
Well, they're cleaning up now, right? No.
Yeah, hopefully. They're messing up, I think.
We have 3 kids of 14, 8 and 5. Well, I think it works great because, as maybe you saw it, so we take them a lot of times with us. So 2 of them also don't have school today, so they also wanted to come, but then it was raining, whatever. So when we do projects over a longer period, we usually do it in school vacation, so they come with us and they see us working, and they know we have a workshop in Rotterdam, they come there regularly, they do their own things. So they're really used to also changing rooms, and they do this themselves as well. So
But how do we contain that? I think the question is how
yeah,
we deal with that at home, no?
I think...
I know how to embrace it, because maybe you really just think it's part of how your
I think
home works.
I think we are not messy, so we are not...
Yeah, we try to contain our messiness with Marie Kondo, no?
Folding.
And it didn't work.
What?
So
My folding is the best. It
like,
doesn't work for you, okay.
it's a fight that is never over, but embracing it means also finding a way to live with imperfection everywhere and still have the sense of creating a home that is comfy, that is nice, that is inviting for everybody. And this is, I think, possible with a lot of messiness around.
And I think there's 2 things what we also apply in the whole catastrophe thing is like keep changing and also embrace it, and like don't get panic, because that also how it started, and also in our thesis, like we sometimes think of a perfect environment as like clean and netjes and tidy and how it's in the magazines, but that's like the second, that's an illusion, that's like the moment, and then it's getting messy again. I just found this in your bag, so this is also a bit of a punk little cute thing that somebody put in your bag. So it's like this is happening all the time, and if you don't embrace it, you get stressed. And
Yeah,
I think this is part of it. No, we also we decided for 3 kids, so we decided for a bit of chaos in our life. Yeah.
We have time for one more question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious to know if
Do you want a microphone?
in this process, what you're then doing with, let's say, a client, if it ever happened that you came into a space where you maybe liked it so much that it was painful to start this creative, destructive thing, that you were like sad about it? Or
Well,
is that not a
No.
The nicer it is, the more we are longing to change it, to break the shell. I mean, what you're talking about might happen when when somebody is asking us to do what we do in a building site, where everything is open already, where everything is under construction. There we would have trouble to apply our method, but in a space that has a very developed shell, then it is easier to apply, because you have everything that you can dig into, break it open.
Yeah, and I think what you can say is like people who are asking us to do something like this, they have or a very messy house with like too many things, too many, frictionless, like completely overwhelming.
Or a very nice one, no?
Or not even nice, but very closed
Yeah.
one, where there's no possibility for people to relate to the space. Yeah.
So in an open space, I think this is not our doelgroep, not our
Target group.
target
Yeah.
group.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. If
Thank you.
anyone is going through a renovation, I want to look for the starting moment, to call.